do her remarks.
Okay, great.
Sir, I'm gonna let you take that one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start in just a minute or two. If I could ask everyone to please silence your phones, that would be awesome and very much appreciated. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Charlie Williams, and I have the privilege of serving as the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Programs Officer for the Armed Services YMCA. I want to welcome you here this morning to the 15th Annual Angels of the Battlefield Awards Press Event. We have a lot to celebrate today. We have 5 exceptional awardees. We have an historic year for the Armed Services YMCA, and it's all within a month that brings much-deserved recognition and attention to the military family. The story of the Armed Services YMCA began 160 years ago during the Civil War, when a group of YMCA volunteers banded together with the sole mission to provide care and comfort to soldiers on the battlefield. Today, the Armed Services YMCA is the oldest continuously serving military service organization in the country, and we stand ready to provide care and comfort for the military family here and at home for the next 160 years. We celebrate the founding of our organization in the month known as National Veteran and Military Families Month, a designation we helped make happen. Behind each service member is their family, who also serves through their sacrifice. And that is important to remember, not just in November, but literally every day of the year. Here to talk more about our special mission is the Armed Services YMCA President and CEO, Bill French, Vice Admiral, United States Navy, retired.
Thanks, Charlie. Good morning to everyone, those in attendance here and those online. As Charlie mentioned, we are celebrating a true milestone this year. The Armed Services YMCA was founded in November 15th of 1861 by volunteers who stood together and created the United States Christian Commission, with a mission to brave Civil War battlefields to provide care and comfort to troops. Rooted in that history, today, the Armed Services YMCA has evolved as to how we provide care and comfort for military service members and their families. We are proud to provide no or low-cost programs and services specifically designed for junior military enlisted service members. We relieve stress, we ease burdens, and we help families navigate the challenges that are unique to military life. The pandemic put an enormous amount of pressure on our military families. And one of the most difficult times in our country's history, we delivered more than 3 million pounds of food to over 68,000 service members and their families. We provided child care services to essential workers and expanded our programming to include school-aged care for those needing a place to do virtual learning. None of that would be possible without the tireless efforts of our passionate staff and our many, many volunteers across all of our branches. The critical support of our partners at the Department of Defense and the unwavering backing of our generous donors and sponsors. So thank you. I really can't say that enough. Now I'd like to introduce the presenting sponsor of this event, Leonardo DRS. With us today is Michael Mount. He's the VP of Communications and Public Affairs for Leonardo DRS. Mike, if you could join us at the podium.
Admiral, thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's a wonderful organization, and I'd like to start out by congratulating the Angels and their awards today. I think you're going to hear some amazing stories about some amazing people. You know, we're proud to sponsor the YMCA here. We've been partnered with the organization for 8 years. And in that time, we've helped raise almost $500,000 to support the families of military, support military families. But I'm confident that I think we all can agree that military families are kind of the first families of this country these days. Our CEO, Bill Lynn, who's also the former Deputy Defense Secretary, likes to say that our military recruits the individual, but we also retain the families. And I think that's an important statement, especially today where there are more military family members across this country than at any point in American history, which makes our support all the more important nowadays. And you know, Leonardo DRS supports MSOs, military service organizations, like the YMCA, because it's an important thing for families to be recognized and to be supported. Military families really do sacrifice, and the members obviously sacrifice as well too. So we are adamant that our company supports organizations like the YMCA because of this. So thank you very much. Congratulations again, Angels. We appreciate everything you do and what you've done.
Thank you, Michael. Now to the Angels of the Battlefield Awards and to announce this year's honorees. We have immense admiration for the unparalleled inspiration of the special group of men and women who serve and sacrifice so much for our country and the freedoms that we hold dear. There are many roles military service members play that support us here at home and abroad. These awards specifically recognize the courage, the quick action, and the selfless nature of the military's first responders, the combat medics, the corpsmen, and the pararescue men in each of the services. The Armed Services YMCA is the only national nonprofit that honors the military's first responders representing each service branch. Since 2006, we have honored 70 men and women as Angels of the Battlefield. Today, we add 5 more. These are individuals who have demonstrated extraordinary bravery and leadership. Vice Admiral French and Lieutenant General Dave Halverson, the Vice Chair of the Armed Services YMCA Board of Directors, will assist our esteemed service representatives in handing out this year's Angel of the Battlefield Awards. We will present each award in order of the creation of that service according to the Department of Defense. So we'll start with the United States Army. This year's winner served on the front lines of a different battlefield, the pandemic. The story of the military first responders during the pandemic is a story that has not been told enough. To present the Army Angel of the Battlefield Award is General James McConnell.
Well, good morning, and thank you to Charlie and for the whole team for putting together this event. We truly appreciate the support that you provide to our service members and families, and really I have the honor of introducing an outstanding non-commissioned officer, our Army recipient, and she is truly an angel on the battlefield, Staff Sergeant Margot Gabers. And one of the benefits of being the Chief of Staff is I get to meet some incredible soldiers and non-commissioned officers, and I get to know their story. And for me and our soldiers, medics are special people. They're special people because not do they only choose to serve their country, but they also choose to serve their fellow man and fellow woman in combat. And those who have served in combat know this very, very well. When things get rough in combat, the first call that goes out is medic or doc, and our great medics come running through withering fire, and they're there to take care of our soldiers. And as I've gone around the Army and many, many times, and I go to units, and I ask the units, who do they want us to recognize? Who do they want us to give coins to? It's always the medics. And so there's a very, very special place. But what's different this year is not only on the battlefield, but also back here at home. We've had a threat called COVID, a domestic threat that's killed over 700,000 Americans. And Sergeant Gaber's been on the front lines of COVID for us also, and we'll talk a little about that. But she was born and raised in Northern California. She graduated from Sonoma State. Both of her grandfathers served in the military, so that was a primal cue, one in World War II, one in Korean War. And she came in 2012, and she knew she wanted to go in the medical field and get her hands on experience treating patients. And I talked a little about combat medics, but they quickly learned that she had tremendous talents, and she took on some of the toughest jobs. And we're talking about COVID, but she also deployed to Afghanistan. She deployed to Iraq. She deployed to Syria, and she helped treat and evacuate over 130 casualties when she was there, and did some incredible things. She also went out in foot patrols and convoys with our infantry soldiers, and one of the things that we do is we have women that interact with the women out there so the team can build that type of cohesion. So she worked with an interpreter very, very closely and really did a great job for the team. But what she's doing right now, she's currently our non-commissioned officer. She's in charge of our Soldier Readiness Processing Center supporting our forces in Hawaii. And they've done some great work on getting our soldiers the needed vaccinations they need so they're ready to go. And she's done a fabulous job of that, and she's been involved in giving over 30,000 vaccines and increased the division's rate to well over 95%, so they're doing great. And she came in the Army to get the experience, but she stayed in the Army because she loves working with soldiers, training soldiers, and doing her medical work. And we're very, very glad to have her. But I do want to recognize her family. Her mom, Sharon's here. Her dad, John, and her stepmother, Susan, are all here. And you ought to all be very, very proud of her, because we certainly are. And so with that, what we'd like to do is go ahead and congratulate you, just tell you we're proud to serve with you, and go ahead and do the award. How do you want Dave Harrison, hockey players? How do you want to do that? Right here?
All right, can we take one right here? One,
Yes.
2, 3. Sir, could you step just inwards a little bit more? No, you're fine.
I'm okay?
No,
I want to stay fine.
1, 2, 3. Beautiful, thank you.
Thank you so much. You okay?
Yeah.
Nice. This is good. Just wait.
So thank you so much to the YMCA for recognizing me for this, and a mission I truly feel like is just my job. So I don't know if I deserve this honor, but apparently a couple of you think I did. So thank you for that. Also, thank you to my family for being here and making me the person that I am, even when those teenage years weren't so fun. And lastly, thank you so much to the support of my staff and my coworkers who made this mission happen with me. This was not just my mission, this was our mission. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Staff Sergeant Gabers, for your incredible work during this pandemic. Our next winner is a Navy hospital corpsman who was assigned to a Marine Corps Special Operations team. The Petty Officer First Class is not with us this morning due to the sensitive nature of his deployments, and we support and respect the need to have him remain confidential. But it's important to hear more about their story and how corpsmen serve on the front lines to support Marines and their missions. And to help us do that is Rear Admiral Gregory Todd, Chaplain of the United States Marine Corps.
Marines are known for running to the sound of the guns, and when they do, they go with Navy corpsmen. So it's truly an honor to recognize our Special Operations Independent Duty Corpsman, HM1, here today. He really is the epitome of what we're talking about in terms of an angel on the battlefield. When we talk about the stresses of combat, when we wonder, of course, as a chaplain, I get a lot of questions of where's God in the midst of this, and I would say in the hands of people who care for others, and that certainly qualifies for our Special Operations Independent Duty Corpsman here. Our HM1 serves with Marine Raiders, and of course, by the nature of his job, we need to maintain some anonymity, but let me brag on him a little bit. Just in the space of a couple months, he was involved on a deployment. Following an intense combat engagement, he provided immediate battlefield care by applying tourniquets, dressings, and pain-relieving drugs to grievously wounded personnel. He even arranged a battlefield blood transfusion that saved a badly wounded soldier. He performed an emergency appendectomy in austere conditions where no physicians or surgeons were available. This is well within his skill set as an independent duty corpsman, but how often do you get asked to do that? And he did it. Following an IED strike that wounded 5, he worked tirelessly for 6 hours to triage and treat the wounded. Every one of them survived. Thank God. Just a few weeks after that, in response to another IED blast that resulted in 12 killed or wounded, he organized the triage of the wounded that while simultaneously performing life-saving care on multiple individuals. You can see by the nature of his deployment, it was very kinetic, and yet he was in the midst of it, providing that divine hand of care that he's so much appreciated by the Marine Corps. So I wish we could bring him here. I wish we could show him, because he certainly epitomizes what we talk about by being ready to provide, to be ready there physically, mentally, spiritually, and available to our Marines when they need him. So we're grateful for what he's done. The Marine Corps always loves their corpsmen. So you'll get to meet him tonight.
Thank you very much, Admiral Todd, and thank you to our Marine Corps honoree. Our next winner is an example of how training trumped chaos. Our honoree jumped into action when a recruit needed emergency assistance, changing forever the lives of both young men. And to help us present the angel of the battlefield for the United States Navy is Rear Admiral Bruce Gillingham, Surgeon General of the Navy.
Well, good morning, everyone. And I'd also like to offer my gratitude to the Armed Services YMCA for this opportunity to recognize excellence in one of our Navy corpsmen. A bit of a theme going here, I think you're hearing. But our corpsman exemplifies, and that's Petty Officer Ernie Groover, exemplifies really our priorities in Navy medicine. Extremely well-trained people operating on high-performance platforms, demonstrating cohesive teamwork to produce medical power in support of naval superiority. In this case, operating at the beginning of a Marine's career during boot camp. Petty Officer Groover was closely monitoring the very early stages of basic training, a period when the Marines were assessing, drill instructors were assessing the fitness of the recruits, and astutely recognized that one of the recruits was struggling. And even before that recruit collapsed, he was there ready to provide assistance. Did initial assessment, very quickly called in additional assistance, and then began CPR and called in a drill instructor to help him in that process. What's really remarkable about Petty Officer Groover, in addition to his obvious skill, is the fact that he's so humble about this event. And I think he exemplifies also that true humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. And that's a character that we certainly cherish throughout the Navy, but especially in our Navy corpsmen. As our CNO, Admiral Michael Gilday, has said, our hospital corpsmen are the Swiss Navy knife of the Navy, and so I would argue that Petty Officer Groover, who has already served with the Marines forward in Okinawa, and who is looking forward to specializing within Navy medicine as he ends his tour at Parris Island, exemplifies all of that. And I think what really exemplifies the humility is that his greatest reward, he said, from that event is that Marine was able to return to training and is now on full duty. So, ladies and gentlemen, Petty Officer Ernie Groover.
Here, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
I'm nervous, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Don't like cameras, but I appreciate the YMCA, I appreciate Navy, I appreciate everything. It just, like I tell everybody, it's all training. And once you, in that predicament, like, you don't have to think, like, your body does everything. And it's always, like, my favorite saying is corpsman up. It's always about just stepping up and doing the things you need to do at the right time. That's all I gotta say.
Well, HM3 Groover, perfectly stated. Thank you very much. Moving to the Air Force, their honoree was on point to lead and provide life-saving medical treatment for partner forces. We're very glad that he could join us today from being based in England and make the trip across the pond. Here to present the Air Force Angel of the Battlefield Award is Major General John DeGoes, Deputy Surgeon General of the United States Air Force.
Good morning and thank you to the Armed Services YMCA leadership, Admirals French, Williams, General Halverson. On behalf of the Air Force Chief of Staff, General Charles Q. Brown, Jr., I am honored to recognize Master Sergeant Brian Jimenez as the Air Force recipient of the Armed Services YMCA Angel of the Battlefield Award for 2021. Master Sergeant Jimenez is the Flight Chief of Operational Medicine Clinic for the 48th Operational Medical Readiness Squadron at Royal Air Force, or RAF, Lakenheath, England. He oversees 4 clinics and 70 personnel where he manages operations supporting the Air Force's largest medical deployment mission and the operational missions for 3 wings, 7,000 airmen, all the while fighting through the COVID-19 pandemic. Brian embodies our Air Force core values of service, integrity, and excellence in all he does. And as an Air Force medic, he is trained to run toward the battle, toward the sounds of gunfire and explosions to help save as many lives as possible. From an early age, Sergeant Jimenez dreamed of exploring the world, learning about other cultures, and helping people. In 2001, at the age of 20, he realized his dream when he enlisted and became an Air Force medic. Little did he know at that time that he would become a career medic, deploying to many foreign lands and helping many others. On a fateful day in July of 2019, while deployed to Kenya, Sergeant Jimenez happened to be in the right place at the right time and to be an angel. That day, Al-Shabaab militants ambushed a patrol of Kenyan Army Rangers with an improvised explosive device and small arms fire. When Sergeant Jimenez heard about the attack, he immediately gathered medical supplies and equipment and rushed to a Kenyan naval clinic where the wounded were being taken. Once there, he worked tirelessly alongside 25 multinational medics and set up 8 trauma bays. Sergeant Jimenez's readiness and ability to quickly respond was not by chance. In the Air Force Medical Service, we pride ourselves on staying proficient and always ready. That is who we are. As a medically ready force, saving lives on the battlefield or the nearest makeshift trauma bay, whether they be American, Kenyan, partners, allies, or even our adversaries sometimes. This was no fluke. Sergeant Jimenez's medical readiness, extensive experience, and training in tactical combat casualty care were pivotal. He directly contributed to stabilizing 6 Rangers for transport to a higher level of care and helped save the life of another Ranger who suffered a severe spinal cord injury. Sergeant Jimenez's leadership, training, and discipline were vital to saving the lives of our allies. On behalf of General Brown, I'd like to thank the Armed Services YMCA for recognizing Master Sergeant Jimenez and the extraordinary actions of these brave men and women, these angels here today. Master Sergeant Jimenez, Brian, the Chief of Staff and I are extremely proud of you. You made a difference that day because of your training, discipline, and courage to run toward the danger. You are a true hero. Congratulations on being named an Armed Services YMCA Angel of the Battlefield. Please join me here.
Thank you again. I am extremely humble and honored. As medics, we don't look for recognition. Our main goal is to make sure we take care of those that provide those life-saving sacrifices. I'm just very honored. Thank you to the Armed Forces YMCA, to my leadership. I'm deeply humble. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Congratulations, Master Sergeant Jimenez, for representing our country in the very best light. Our final award this morning goes to a Coast Guard aviation survival technician and rescue swimmer. While he wasn't navigating the waters, he did have to master an icy mountain in order to assist 2 hikers in distress. To help me present this award, I'd like to introduce Rear Admiral Dana Thomas, the Director of Health, Safety, and Work Life for the United States Coast Guard.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you again, Admiral French and colleagues. It is a pleasure to be here. What the Armed Services YMCA does is it helps us build resilience. It really helps our men and women and their families be stronger regardless of the perilous circumstances they find themselves in. And I appreciate what you were saying about the toll COVID has taken on our nation. I have a different story to tell you today, though. I mean, many of you know men and women in the Coast Guard stand the watch every day. They stand it on our shores, afloat, domestically and internationally. On a blustery cold night in January of 2021, AST-1 Aviation Survival Technician First Class Trevor J. Salt was on duty. Did he know what was going to come that night his way? Of course not. 2 hikers also, could have been any of us in the audience, could have been any of us on the stage, did not know what was going to happen. They took a perilous tumble, 1,500 feet, Grayback Mountain in Oregon, found themselves, stranded, alone, and the temperature's dropping. So with winds 46 miles per hour, with temperatures in the teens, at near midnight, AST-1 Trevor Salt was lowered down near where they were located, carrying 140 pounds of equipment, walked across icy snow, found them, stabilized them, and spent the night ensuring they did not die of hypothermia or shock, which was inevitable without this support. Built a fire, stabilized the 30-degree-plus cliff they were on to protect anyone from dying, and strategized overnight, how am I going to get these 2 survivors out of here? One who has spinal injuries and broken bones, the other who can be on my recovery team. He managed to dig 300 cubic feet of snow out to a place hundreds of feet away, and 12 hours later, working with the Oregon National Guard, evacuated 2 survivors. Both would have died, but one with very, very serious injuries. And he did this, and I remember speaking to him after he won Angel of the Battlefield Award as just part of his regular duties. AST-1 Trevor Salt found out about the Coast Guard through watching, Deadliest Catch. Gotta love TV, okay? He had grown up in Utah, which I guess doesn't have a ton of Coast Guard, and he said, this is what I think I'm called to do. He'd been a swimmer in high school, a couple years of college swimming. He said, no, I really feel called to this. I did EMT, EMS from high school on, and this is what I'm meant to do. And you proved that in January. You saved those survivors would not be survivors. And you did it with grace and aplomb, expecting nothing else other than just, hey, another day at work. You're joined today by your beautiful wife, Allie Trevor, and first time in D.C. They're going to spend the afternoon, touring some sites, and it's wonderful to have you here. And I'm humbled to be in the presence of a hero like yourself and all of our heroes, all of these angels. Thank you so much for what you've done. Please join me on stage.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Good job.
I have to use my phone. Extremely honored to have been selected as an Angel of the Battlefield. It's truly humbling being around all these amazing people and their great stories. Thank you to Admiral French and the Armed Services YMCA for putting this event on and bringing us all together. Thank you, Admiral Thomas, for presenting the award and being here. I also want to thank my air crew for conducting such a high and strategic hoist to get me down to the side of the mountain, and to the National Guard for recovering us. Also would like to thank my chief, Ansley, and Sector North Bend for the recognition. And most of all, I would like to thank my family, my fellow rescue swimmer brother and sisters, and most of all, my beautiful wife. Thanks for all the support and love through the constant changes and challenges of military life, so others may live.
Well, congratulations, Pastor Salt, for being awarded as an Angel of the Battlefield, and also for being named the 2021 Coast Guardsman of the Year by Military Times. To help close out our event this morning is Lieutenant General Halverson. Dave?
Well, what a great day. I mean, when people say they truly are angels, you can just hear it. Their stories, each has the diversity, each has the call, and each has the sacrifices that they've done to take care of their fellow, service member and stuff. That's just like the Armed Services YMCA. And on behalf of the Armed Services YMCA Board of Directors, I want to just thank all the angels for their proficiencies and their will to take that step forward. Also, and more importantly, I do want to thank their families and their spouses and stuff, either here or live streaming right now, because without them, we know it cannot be possible because of our lifestyle. So let's give them a big hand. I also really want to thank Leonardo DRS and stuff for your contributions and your support that you've given to us. I tell you, we are excited at the Armed Services YMCA to give back. And we're excited to celebrate 160 years of providing services to our service members and families. It's remarkable things. It's a touchstone for us, and we'll continue to do that. So thank you very much, and Charlie, close it out.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude our 15th annual Armed Services YMCA Angels of the Battlefield press event. Our honorees are going to be up here for a group photo, and then they'll be available for individual interviews. I want to thank you again for joining us this morning. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.